Welcome to Rental Revenge, the series where I revisit an era of video game store gambles to right the wrongs of my childhood. You know the games I'm talking about, the ones that look incredible on the shelf, right until you have the miss of fortune pushing the start button. Well, back then, you had one weekend to beat the game or to live with regret. In this episode, I'm tackling a nemesis that has haunted me for decades. Deadly Towers. When I first saw the box art, the lore of the fantasy action RPG, that was enough to convince my mom and brother that this is the one. I caught a glimpse of it over the years, but I haven't truly faced it since I was a kid. So today I'm going to go for a blind run to see if the game makes more sense now than it did back then. Alright, well, definitely was an interesting experience going back through this again. First off, I completely forgot the game even had a story. As a kid, I had no clue what the goal was. Rereading it now, I'm surprisingly dense. Something about a prince and a demon hunting a king. But here's the reality of playing the game today. There's a few things I ran into, let's just say. First, the combat. Your weapon is painfully slow and incredibly weak. It takes like an exhausting amount of shots to clear even the basic enemies. The level designs, the world's just cryptic. It's maze-riddled, it's with secrets, pitfalls everywhere. One minute you're walking through a wall to find a hidden room, the next you're falling through a trap into the dungeon or basement, and it's just a maze you can't escape. Most of the enemies stay in fixed areas, but others just spawn randomly, sometimes right on top of you, and they hit hard. Even if you manage to find some better equipment or helmet, it hardly does anything to help with reduce the damage. It's punishing. There's incident everywhere, there's traps, there's insane knockback. And while you get to keep your weapons and armor after you're dying, you lose your items. And the worst part is like your death resets your health, even though you can increase your mats. And you get unlimited continues, but you're constantly spawning back to the very beginning every single time. And I could see why the mystery intrigued me, but the frustration, the constant feeling of just being lost are very strong, and they're still strong 30 years later. To get my revenge, I'm going to need to do a few more things. First, I got to find a map and get a clear sense of direction. Second, I better have a turbo button, because my thumbs can't keep jamming that all the time. And to me, save states, they're fair game, because otherwise I'd need months of training to beat this thing. Alright, here's my secret weapon. So years ago, Nintendo Power published like a classified secret codes about getting better gear in the game at the start. Since that information was technically available back then, I'm counting it as fair play. I never got to use it back then because we never rented the game again. But if I can find that code now, it's game on. Now I'm armed with some new tools. I'm ready to give this another shot at redemption. Turns out that mysterious code in the Nintendo Power was completely worthless. It didn't do hardly anything. But I had a solid plan, a stack of maps, and a guide, so I finally started making some real progress. The game starts out just grueling. It's like you have to take a very cautious pace, avoid things, avoid getting hit. I spent the early hours just grinding for basic gear, getting the helmet, getting the shield, getting some armor, grabbing some items. But every tiny bit, inched it forward. But then things started to change once I got the hyper gear. I paired it with the Dragon Slayer sword, double shots, and the gauntlets. Then things changed a lot. It was time to kind of pound the game into submission. I started breezing through the towers and shredding the bosses. I started collecting bell after bell and kind of setting them ablaze. I made the climb to the final encounter, and the guide warned it would be difficult. But I just plowed through the final bosses, kind of like a car passing you at twice the speed. Just blew right by him. I mean, I beat the final boss so fast that he barely even saw him. I had to actually kind of go back and do it a few times so I could just see what he looked like. Oh well. But after that, we get a sweet ending. The prince becomes a king. Peace reigns for 1,000 years. And then it's back to the grindstone. Oh well, roll the credits. So, was revenge successful? Absolutely. I found it was great to finally find my way through the madness. Could I have beaten it back in the day? I don't think so. Even with guides and maps, this game's an absolute nightmare, full of secrets and pitfalls, looping dimensions and mazes. It's far too easy to just kind of fall into something where you can't escape and die. I read even about a blue scroll that teleports you into a room with no doors. If you don't have a password written down, that's game over for your progress. It's definitely one of those that make a kid cry, for sure. But if you strip away all the rough edges, there's an intriguing game hidden here. There's an open world, upgrades, sheer sense of kind of exploration that kind of quite compelling if you have the patience to kind of map everything out. Unfortunately, few kids in the 90s had that kind of patience. Most of us just dropped it back in the rental return bin a few hours later, hoping to find something better. Well, we'll see you next time on Rental Revenge.